Welcome my friends, welcome back to Project TAS. If you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. If you've watched any of my previous videos, thank you for returning to my channel. Today we're doing another Blake 7 episode review from Season 1. As always, I will point out that this review will inevitably touch upon certain plot elements of this episode and may even reveal developments for the series of Blake 7 as a whole. So if you haven't seen this episode, or anything else in terms of Blake 7, a huge spoiler alert is in order. In case you wish to do a bit of Blake 7 catch-up prior to watching this review, you have been warned. Right, let's get to it, shall we? A somewhat standout episode in the Blake 7 franchise because its plot shouldn't really stand out. Certainly not for reasons of originality. Being a sci-fi nerd already, I didn't need to read other reviews of this episode to notice that the entire plot is copy and pasted from the original series Star Trek episode Arena, where Captain Kirk fights the lizard-like captain of the alien vessel on cable TV in front of his crew for the right of their survival, and when he gets his opportunity to kill the lizard humanoid, he doesn't, because he's better than that. Released in the UK in 1969, 9 years before we get Duel, and surely we have witnessed the biggest piece of plagiarism in sci-fi history. How the Yanks must loathe us for it, assuming any of our cousins across the pond have ever heard of Blake 7. For those of you who haven't seen either of these episodes, I'll again recap the plot of Duel, although having done that already with Arena, there may not be much point. The Liberator desperately needs to recharge its energy banks, having been evading pursuit ships for what must feel like forever, and they decide to take refuge over a random planet. Unfortunately, the very random planet they choose to hang out at, or rather hang out over, is also the same random planet that Travis has eeny meeny miny mo chosen to try and wait for them. Apparently he knew the pursuit ships would pursue Blake into this galaxy. I hope he means system, otherwise the encounter would seem even more unlikely. In addition to this random planet unfortunately having a Travis in orbit of it, it also has the sci-fi version of the WI living below on the surface, who, after letting Travis's ships shoot the Liberator up for about 5 minutes, decide Blake suffered enough, turn on their special effects machine, and so we begin in earnest the plot from Arena. Blake and Travis are teleported to the planet's version of Sherwood Forest, as are Jenna and Travis's enlightened mutoid, who keeps complaining about not having any blood to snack on. The aim? For one to kill the other, to win the right to leave, or destroy the other. There's also some bit about the death of a friend, but no one really takes that bit seriously. Blake inevitably gets to the point where he can kill Travis and end the suffering of potentially a lot of people in the galaxy before Travis gets a chance to mass murder them, but Blake decides not to, because he's better than that. He throws his weapon away, taking a chance in a million that he'll be transported back at that moment, and Travis won't simply be allowed to get back up and stab Blake instead. We exchange morals, all coming away better people, except for Travis, and while the battle may be over, the war isn't. Well, having watched the episode and enjoyed the episode, while the general plot risked being sued by Paramount, it goes without saying that this episode is much, much more than its general plot. It is more a way of looking at Blake and Travis, their relationship with each other and with the other characters, and indeed draws a sly look at Blake's crew and the way they see their leader and their ongoing plight, especially when Avon pipes up. The scenes on the flight deck during Blake and Travis's guerrilla warfare are reminiscent of Gogglebox, watching an episode of Big Brother, and this level of intimacy continues throughout the episode, even between Travis and his mutoid lackey. Arena is one of my favourite episodes of Star Trek overall, never mind the original series. And while the action and excitement and the crew camaraderie all stand out, what Duel does is stop, take a break in a tree, and takes time to reflect. We're focusing on both sides of the conflict here, and Travis's attitude towards his duty and his obsession with Blake is at its most obvious. We also focus on the super beings who are controlling all of this, some aspects explained, others left mysterious. Arena does this as well, just not in the same way. Regarding Cinepha the Guardian and Jirok the Keeper, we begin the episode with them on the planet in question. We immediately realise that they have superpowers, we quickly understand what each of them is about in terms of their relationship with each other, and that they clearly know what is about to unfold in the stars above them. What is interesting is that the wise, calm and authoritative one is Cinepha, the much younger one, while Jirok, the older lady, still impatiently asks, "Why us?" and laments that she didn't ask to be chosen. Usually wisdom would come with age, hence why I'm surprised the younger one, or the younger looking one, is the voice of reason. Jirok is emotional, Cinefar is spiritual. I found myself thinking that Jirok was more like a physical person, a survivor of the war from long ago, and Cinefar had been reborn from the ashes to atone for their prior sins and failures. What sins, you ask? The one that laid their planet to ruin. And it's fascinating to watch Blake, Jenna and Gan exploring the site and musing about what happened to the population and the fact that the once inhabited planet is now a monument to the dead. And indeed, this exposited conflict contrasts subtly with this current conflict between Blake and Travis. It could destroy them both if they do not learn. Fortunately, Blake won't let this happen to either of them. As Cinefar reasons, there is nothing for him to learn. Before Blake has his hugely elaborate lesson, where he learns that he has nothing to learn, he has a bout of ship-to-ship fisticuffs with 3 of Travis's pursuit ships, the ones that somehow knew exactly where Blake was going to turn up. People have pointed to the dullness of this battle. As Villa says, are we just going to sit here and let them shoot at us all day? If the pursuit ships are using siege tactics against a ship that is dangerously low on power, I would argue the tactics make sense. I suppose the entertainment value is debatable, but as tension goes, and impossible to escape situations, this works pretty well for me. I also don't have an issue with the exposition debate by Blake with Avon and Callie. Yes, I was questioning his choice for the panel, as it were, but simply shouting out, "We're going for a ram, anyone with a better idea, let's hear it," would not explain the fact that one of the enemy ships was running low on power, and the fact they could be ignored, etc., etc. And let's be honest, such plan making in the heat of battle probably took place on sea vessels and conflicts in the air, despite the chaos around them. But Callie? I love her, and I know she was in a combat situation on Saurian Major. But given her piloting skills and the fact that this is a ship-to-ship battle, surely it's Jenna who should be voted into the War Council. After Cinefar pauses the battle and strobe lights everything and everyone to where they want them to be, it now dawns on the veteran sci-fi nerds where they have seen all this before. But we've already gone over this.
You're never involved, are you, Avon? You ever cared for anyone?
Except yourself?
I have never understood why it should be necessary to become irrational in order to prove that you care. Or indeed, why it should be necessary to prove it at all.
Was that an insult, or did I miss something?
You missed something.
The line by Avon about wanting to get some sleep and that he does not understand why it is necessary to prove that you care is very Avon, and perhaps very true. I also love the look he gives when he realises before anyone else that Blake is not going to kill Travis. I also want to mention the look by Callie that we dwell on for about half a second. Does she also know that Blake isn't going to kill Travis? Or is she just not as keen to witness a killing as Villa and Gang clearly are? She probably wants Travis to die, but given her devotion to Blake and her image of him, she probably doesn't want him to do the killing. It's absorbing, it's emotional, and every person in the episode gets their own chance to shine. A pity therefore that the vessel that Nation uses to show us his characters from this different angle has been done before. No, I'm not going to simply dismiss the episode as a copycat. As I've already stressed, there's so much more to it. In fact, if it had come before Arena, I might well be hailing this as the superior episode of the two. I don't know, but it's worth mentioning that there are several of these types of episodes in other series beyond Duel and Arena, even repeats of it in Star Trek. But given the status these two sci-fi franchises enjoy, the near-identical general plots are difficult to ignore and really should have been acknowledged and addressed by the production team of Blake 7. Regretfully, a potential 3-star episode, 4 if there was a better means of intercepting the Liberator, will have to be docked a mark for the lack of originality in its general plot, but I still highly recommend this episode to anyone who hasn't seen it. And to those who have dismissed it as a copycat plot, I would just suggest look closer and give it a second glance. Sometimes the primary plot is the least important aspect. That concludes my review on Duel. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like this video, please share this video, please subscribe to my channel, and I will be off somewhere misusing the power. Have a good one!